Credit Karma has been lying to you this entire time. Millions of Americans have been convinced that Credit Karma is their real credit score when it in fact is not. So in today's video, we're gonna take it back to the basics of your credit score, because I believe this has been a growing problem in America where people truly don't understand what their real credit score looks like, where to find it, and what to be actually looking for, and who you can trust to see the correct, accurate credit score that lenders are going to see. This is a huge growing problem that truly needs to be addressed. I truly believe that you should not be using Credit Karma. You should actually delete it from your phone, because it is the biggest misleading app that has ever been put out in American history, and we're gonna talk about it today. But let's be honest with each other here. The number one reason why people use Credit Karma is because it's free. Everybody loves free. I'm not gonna lie, I like stuff that's free also. But the fact remains that free isn't always accurate. So everyone's fallen into the trap to believe that Credit Karma is a good tool to help us. Credit Karma's score is accurate and complete. Everything on Credit Karma is really real, and it's there to help you. And the biggest lie of all is that Americans believe that Credit Karma score is exactly what lenders are going to use, when in fact, more than 90% of lenders are going to use a FICO scoring algorithm of some sort, not a Vantage 3.0, which is exactly what Credit Karma shows you. But understand, none of this was taught to us in school. So I get why so many people have no clue what they're looking at. Think about it like this. Why would they want to teach you about your credit score when they want to keep you in debt with those student loans? Think about it for a second there. The more they can keep you in debt, the longer they can keep you down and make more money from you. But pay attention to what I said. Credit Karma is a Vantage 3.0, and you're going to be hard pressed to find any major lender that's going to be looking at a Vantage 3.0 or any Vantage credit score, to be honest. And you're probably asking yourself, but why don't lenders use it? Because the entire system was built on FICO, and to all these major lenders, a Vantage credit score is unreliable, and it's a completely different algorithm to a FICO credit score. This is why they heavily rely on FICO, because they believe that the determining factors are all inside of FICO, and they trust that more than they do a Vantage score. Because remember, this is something that people don't talk about enough. Your credit score determines your ability to repay consistently. That's the thing here we're talking about. Your credit score is a direct reflection of your consistency to repay all the time on time. But hold on. Let's back it up a little bit, because there are some smaller credit unions and maybe some lending institutions that do use a Vantage 3.0, but it's not very common. But also be aware that a lot of these buy now, pay later apps and lending institutions are using Vantage 3.0 more than any other industry, because it allows them to lend out more. But it also backfired on Klarna, which they took a $99 million loss in the first 3 months of 2025 because they were using that specific algorithm that allows them to lend out more, but not showing that these people might potentially have a higher chance of defaulting if they would have used FICO instead. But all of the major players in the banking game that you want to do business with are going to be using some type of FICO scoring algorithm. So this video is truly going to be one of the biggest videos you're ever going to watch about your credit score, because I believe that people just don't talk about it enough. Because I believe that it's important for you to understand and know exactly what credit score any of these lenders are going to be looking at. So if you're looking to purchase a car, if you're looking to get a new credit card, or you're looking to purchase a home, I want you to fully understand what your credit score is before you even apply, so you don't get denied. And let's be honest, there's a million free credit scores all over the place, from banks to lenders to different apps. They all want to give you a free credit score. So pay attention to the words that I'm about to say. There is no free credit score that is your real credit score that lenders are going to see. And I know that sounds crazy and it pisses people off. You should be pissed off, because people say, well, why should I have to pay to see my credit score? Listen, I didn't create the system. I just want you to be educated to know that there is no free credit score that is your credit score that lenders see. I want to repeat that again so people truly understand that. And nobody talks about it, which blows my mind. And don't come kill the messenger. It's not my fault. I'm not the one that created this entire system like this. If it were up to me, you should be able to see your credit score for free. That's how it should honestly be. But unfortunately, FICO makes money from selling credit scores and marketing things to you. Every one of these systems, all of these credit scoring apps, all of these credit platforms, they're in the business of marketing something to you to get a loan, a credit card, insurance, a mortgage rate. Everything in their ecosystem is built to make them money. They don't really care to show your credit score. It's just something to lead you into their product. And once you're there, if you have bad credit, they're gonna hit you in the chin as many times as they possibly can with crappy credit cards, crappy auto loans, crappy mortgage rates. Everything in there is built for them to make money while they keep you down. But of course, I brought proof with me to show you the differences in what you're actually going to see from a FICO score versus a Vantage credit score. Because what would this video be if I didn't bring any proof, right? But before I show you those scores, I want to be very transparent and explain to you that every credit profile is different. A great example, my credit score can be completely different than my wife's credit score, and then your credit score can be completely different than our credit score. So every credit profile is going to be different because there are no two credit profiles that are alike. A great example, my wife only has 3, maybe 4 credit cards and then a car loan, and then I have over 50 credit cards on my credit profile. You see the massive difference there? So be aware, I may see a 100-point difference between my Vantage credit score and my FICO score. You may only see a 5-point or 10-point difference. Somebody else may see a 200-point difference. I've seen up to a 300-point difference between a Vantage free Credit Karma score and a FICO score. So everyone's gonna vary from profile to profile, because remember, let's repeat it again, there are no two credit profiles that are alike. Now here's the moment you've been waiting for. Let's put the Credit Karma score up on the screen for me. I pulled this right at the making of this video, and then after that I deleted the app. So TransUnion says I'm a 772. A lot of people say, man, that's great. No, it's not, okay? I'll just keep it real. That's not my credit score. Now Equifax also says it's a 759. Says I gained 15 points since the last time or whatever, I don't know. But pay attention to something here. You have your TransUnion and Equifax, but not your Experian credit score. You're probably like, well, why don't they show us our Experian credit score? Because Experian doesn't promote Vantage credit scores, that's why. So I want you to pay attention to the entire screenshot that I took here. Look at what it says. You have outstanding approval odds. Apply with more confidence through Credit Karma. I have 2 credit card offers, 1 personal loan, and then reward credit cards. Check out offers and see what kind of rewards you could be missing out on. I mean, I just want to see my credit score. But again, Credit Karma is a marketing site. They're showing us right here. But now let's pull up my FICO scores, my FICO score 8. Now, as you can see, let's put it up on the screen. It's an 827 with Equifax, significantly different. And then an 838 with TransUnion. Yeah, of course, still higher than Credit Karma. And then an 822 with Experian. Now, a lot of people will always ask, why are your credit scores all completely different? Because it depends on what reported when reported. Because every time you look at a credit score, it's a 30-day shot window of what you see on your credit reports. Now, you can refresh it as many times as you want, but you're gonna have to pay every time that you refresh your credit scores. So I always tell people, don't pull your credit scores until you're 100% ready to actually apply for something, so you can get a complete snapshot at that exact moment. So again, everything will report different at a different time. So as a great example, let's say my Chase credit card will report on the 15th on Experian, but it may report a day later or a couple days later on TransUnion or Equifax, or they may not report the proper balance. So this is why all 3 of my credit scores are never going to be the same. It's very, very rare if you have all 3 credit scores that are lined up and they're exactly the same. Now, another good fact that I want to make very clear to everyone, whenever you're looking at your credit score, understand that not all credit products, meaning credit cards, loans, personal loans, whatever it may be, they all do not report to all 3 credit bureaus. So understand, you can have something on Experian. As a good example, I bought an Affirm mattress a long time ago. Now, what I'm talking about is like one of those purple mattresses. I bought it using Affirm to see exactly how this whole buy now, pay later worked. I got it at 0% interest. I paid it off within, I think it was like 6 months or something, but that hurt my Experian credit report because it was a short-term loan. So this is why my Experian is slightly lower than all of my other ones, because I have an Affirm account on there that's not reporting to all 3 credit bureaus. Another great reason why buy now, pay laters are not a good thing to have. But just looking at my TransUnion credit score with my FICO credit score, comparing it to my Credit Karma credit score, that's a 66-point difference. But the crazier part is my wife only has maybe like a 2-point, maybe 3 3-point difference. And last year, I saw a 100-point difference between my FICO score and my Vantage credit score on Credit Karma. But let's put both credit scores on the screen. Let's put my FICO credit score on the screen and then my Credit Karma score on the screen at the same time so you can see the massive difference. Yes, some people say, well, it's only 66 points. 66 points is a lot. That's a huge determining factor as to how high your interest rate is going to be on an auto loan or a home loan or a credit card. I also want to show you a really good point. Credit Karma is hooked up to your credit reports, right? That's how it gets all of the information. So it should know clearly what credit cards you have and what credit cards you don't have because they have access to your credit report. That would make sense, right? And the entire purpose is so they can actually see that you meet the criteria to be approved for that credit card that they're trying to offer you. But you're probably saying, well, why does that matter, Mike? Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Put this up on the screen for the American Express Platinum card. So the American Express Platinum card says your chance of approval is fair. Apply before any credit score impact. Now it's telling me my chances of approval are fair for a credit card that I already have. I have the personal platinum and I also have the business platinum. So why would you tell me it's fair when I already have the credit card? But let's not just stop there. Let's put up the American Express Gold card. It says your chance of approval is good. Apply before any credit score impact. Again, for another credit card that I have, I actually have 3. I have the personal and 2 business gold cards right here, which is pretty wild, right? Your chances of approval are good for a credit card you already have. Now, let me show you something else very interesting. Now, it showed me credit cards that I had a fair chance of approval, but what did it actually want to get me to sign up for? Now, it showed me a Destiny credit card. Let's put it up on the screen. This is possibly one of the worst credit cards you could possibly get. You don't need these crappy credit cards, but it's telling me my chance of approval is excellent for the Destiny MasterCard cashback rewards instant credit with a $125 annual fee. That's wild. You can get the Capital One Quicksilver card that gives you the same thing in cash back with no annual fee. Why would I want this piece of crap credit card? But Credit Karma didn't just stop there. It sent me what they called the Karma Guarantee. And of course, they sent me another crappy credit card, the Indigo MasterCard Cashback Rewards. Again, 1.5% cash back. Your annual fee is $75 for the first year and then $99 thereafter. Again, another crappy credit card with low limits that you want nothing to do with. But it's telling me the Karma Guarantee, you'll be approved or Credit Karma will pay you $50. Man, you can keep your $50 because I'm not applying for that piece of trash. I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using DisputeBeast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created that comes with a 110% money back guarantee. But specifically to Jay, Jay's credit score went up 222 points after just 1 round with DisputeBeast. And Abdul's credit score went up 206 points after just 1 round with DisputeBeast. But let's not forget about Alexander. Alexander's credit score went up 211 points after just 1 round with DisputeBeast. DisputeBeast link is going to be in the video description and pinned at the top of the comments for anyone that needs to fix their credit. Now, when I was 26, 27 years old, all my friends told me, oh man, go to Credit Karma. Credit Karma will tell you all the credit cards that you'll be approved for, so you don't have to worry about it. Like, you'll know what credit cards to get, because it's really confusing. So of course, like an amateur that I was at 26, 27 years old, I went and got a credit card. This was my first credit card right here. I kept it to remind myself that I don't need this crap. Now, this card has been since turned off and not active off of my credit report for over 10 years. But this is a great example of how people fall for these traps. We don't know any better because nobody taught us. And then you're stuck with the crappy credit card with a low limit. Now, some people will argue, oh, well, my credit one goes all the way up to $1,500. Well, I'm happy for you. But at the end of the day, large banks and large lenders don't recognize those as good credit cards. You only want the top 5 biggest banks on your credit profile or large credit unions also, which is gonna be Capital One, Discover Bank, American Express, Citibank, and Chase Bank. Those are the 5 lenders that you want on your credit report. Anything else besides massive credit unions don't matter. And these crappy credit cards right here only lead to other crappy credit cards. because you start off with a low limit, and then when you go apply for another credit card at another big bank, what happens? That bank is also gonna give you a low limit. This is why I tell so many people, start with a massive credit union to get a higher limit and then move into the big credit cards if you're rebuilding your credit. You don't need any of these crappy credit cards whatsoever. And if anybody on social media tells you to get any type of crappy credit card, like an Open Sky, a First Premier, or a Credit One, or an Indigo, or a Destiny credit card, they have no idea what they're talking about, and they are getting paid to promote those credit cards. The biggest takeaway from getting this crappy credit card was to never ever use Credit Karma ever again, and for Americans to realize that Credit Karma is the biggest scam in American history. But I want to be really clear that Credit Karma is not the only one that does this. So this isn't going to be a whole being a big bully against Credit Karma. No, there are other lenders and other apps that are going to show you credit scores that don't matter. So before I show you all of the credit scores and where to find them and who you can trust, I'm going to show you all of the different apps that show you the wrong credit scores also, so you can get a little bit more clarity. But I'm also going to show you all of the different bank apps that are also misleading you, unfortunately, so you can truly understand. But please don't come into the comments saying, oh, well, Credit Karma is a good mark to show you exactly where you're at and how you're improving. No, quit wasting your time. Use something that is real. All we care about is a FICO score. That's all we care about. And all that's going to cause is you're going to walk into a actual dealership, apply for a car, then get denied, and you're going to say, oh, but my Credit Karma score said this, and the dealership's going to laugh at you like, nobody looks at Credit Karma scores, man. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the biggest laugh at the dealerships still to this day. And I know for a fact that these dealerships are laughing at people that come in there and say, but my Credit Karma score said I'm a 725. Nah, fam, you're a 520, okay? They're in the back. The finance guy's laughing. The guy helping you with the car is laughing, all while you're sitting there like mortified that you didn't get approved because you were looking at the wrong credit score. Now let's start first with CreditWise. CreditWise is a part of Capital One. I don't know if they own it, but they definitely use it. It shows a Vantage credit score, which we don't care about. But be aware, they are switching over to FICO. FICO 8 is what they're going to switch over to eventually, because I think that's being caused by the whole Discover and Capital One merger. They're like, okay, I guess we'll show you a FICO 8, which is great. But right now, currently, in my app, it's still a Vantage score. Now let's move on to one of the bigger ones, which is Credit Sesame. Credit Sesame, which is wild to me that they actually don't show you on their site when they're trying to get you to sign up. It says, check your credit score right away and see what's impacting your credit. 100% free, no credit card, no trials, no commitments. But nowhere on there does it tell you it's a Vantage credit score, because that's exactly what it is. Useless. Now, one of the other shocking ones is NerdWallet. NerdWallet is massive, and I actually like them because they do really good reviews on different types of products and stuff like that. But this right here is crazy because NerdWallet also shows you a Vantage 3.0. Now, nowhere on there does it say it's a Vantage score when you pull it up, but I know for a fact that it is, and it's only pulling from TransUnion. Again, it's useless. Now, another one is from Chase Bank, which is mind-blowing to me that they show you this, but they show you a Vantage 3.0 credit score with Chase Credit Journey, which is basura, because again, it's useless. It's showing you a score that doesn't even matter. But here's the crazy part. Some Chase credit cards will show you a FICO score, which makes no sense to me. But our friends over at Discover are always going to show you a FICO score. Also, Citibank shows you a FICO score. Also, American Express shows you a FICO score. And the biggest disappointment of all is going to be Navy Federal. Navy Federal also shows you a useless Vantage 3.0. Let's put it up on the screen so you guys can see. They're making sense. Why don't y'all make sense and stop showing people a Vantage credit score, Navy Federal? That will be great. And the reason also too is to understand that these banks have to pay for these credit scores. They have to pay for these credit reports that they're going to be able to show you. So maybe they believe that it's cheaper to show you a Vantage 3.0 that's useless compared to showing you a FICO score they have to pay for. But now moving on, let's show you the credit scores that lenders actually truly see. Let's put it up on the screen here. These are the real FICO credit scores that all of the lenders are going to look at. Pause the video and screenshot this and save this on your phone. Create like a new album or someone in your notes that says real credit scores. This is exactly what lenders are going to be looking at, because think about this. This is crazy. I'm about to tell you something really crazy. All of those free credit scores that you see in the credit cards that are in fact FICO scores, those are what I call your top general score that lenders don't even use, because every industry is very specific. So if you want to buy a mortgage, they're going to be looking at your FICO mortgage score 2, 4, or 5. for mortgage lending. Very specific. Now, if you're trying to get a credit card, they're gonna look at what they call your FICO bank card score 8. Again, you can see it right there. It says versions used in credit card decisioning. Now, if you wanna buy an auto loan, if you wanna buy a car and get an auto loan, they're gonna be looking at your FICO auto score 8. You see that right there? Now it's gonna tell you at the very top, the most widely used versions are FICO 8. Now it's very important to understand that every industry has its own credit score. Now some of you may have possibly seen other videos of people talking about FICO 10T is coming, everybody needs to get ready because it's gonna ruin everybody's credit profile. I wanna be really clear, they're just fear mongering because you have to understand something, that the only way that any of these lenders will start to use any new FICO scoring algorithm is they all have to adapt it. As you can see on this little chart, it says most widely used version is a FICO 8. Now there's very few far and in between lenders that'll use something different than a FICO 8. A good example is sometimes TransUnion will pull a FICO 9, which is not commonly used, but sometimes they do that, but it's not common. And in order for a credit score to be fully adapted, everyone has to use it. And let's just be really 100% honest and transparent here, that there's no lender out there that's going to adapt to a FICO credit score that will equal less approvals. They want you to get approved. Remember that. So they're not going to use something that will cause them to get less approvals. They want more approvals. And this is why the banks and the lenders will always stick to FICO 8 and some of them FICO 9, but they don't really go any farther than that. Now let's put up all of the industry-specific FICO scores for me up on the screen. So let's put up your FICO auto scores, your FICO bank card credit scores, and your FICO mortgage scores. Let's put them side by side. I want you to see the big difference in all of them. Look at my mortgage scores, 784, 773, and a 758, because this is a different algorithm. Now let's go look at my FICO bank card score 8, an 837, an 872, and an 841. Hold on, an 872, but I thought credit scores only went up to an 850. Industry-specific FICO scores can go all the way up to 900 points. Nobody ever talks about that also, okay? But now moving on to my auto score. My auto score is an 805, an 857, and an 821. Again, above an 850. Do you see that? Your top general score cannot go past 850, but your industry-specific FICO scores can, in fact, go all the way up to 900. But check these out. All lined up right next to each other. They are all different and they will all vary from different industry to different industry. Now, before anybody comes into the comments and asks me, well, why are they all so different? Why are they all different credit scores and different levels? Well, because every different product has a different risk assessment level. So if you're gonna get a credit card, I mean, it has a lower risk, but if you're gonna buy a car that has a higher risk because it's a more long-term loan, the same thing with a mortgage, that's a more long-term loan, that's a 30-year loan or a 20-year, 15, whatever you choose. It's gonna vary from person to person, but understand that every single algorithm is going to be different based on the risk assessment. How likely is it for you to default? So they want to put that into the actual FICO scoring algorithm to determine what your credit score is gonna be. Last part's the most important. Now, the most expensive place that you can get your FICO scores is going to be My FICO. Now, it's gonna range anywhere from $29.99 all the way up to $49.99 a month, depending on your demographic area. Now, here's the crazier part. You can find all of your scores at myfico.com. It is the most expensive. I believe the lowest tier is $29.99 a month, all the way up to $49.99 a month. It depends on the demographic of where you live. Yes, it's dependent on where you live as to how much is going to cost you. So the price may be different in California versus North Carolina, which makes no sense to me, but this is exactly what we have seen. Yes, My FICO is the most reliable, but it is also the most expensive. It gives you everything. Every single credit score you could possibly look at or need is going to be in My FICO. Now, people will ask me, well, what about Experian, Mike? Experian is another app that is just trying to sell you things. Now, My FICO is doing the same thing, but on a slower, lower level, which is very interesting to me. My FICO has a small little tab at the very bottom of it that says offers. That's it. It's not constantly sending you emails, sending you notifications like, hey, it looks like you appear you may qualify for this credit card. Experian is in fact doing that. They're trying to get you to sign up for Experian Boost, which is another big scam you should not sign up for because you're giving them access to your bank accounts and they're selling your data. Yes, you can get your free Experian credit score, your FICO 8, for free on Experian, but the moment you sign up, you're giving them access to all all of your credit information and they're selling that data to other companies. And again, it's your free FICO 8 general score, not an industry score. In order to see your industry specific scores with Experian, you have to pay for the paid version, which is like $9.99 all the way up to $29.99, depending again on your demographic area. There's only one place that gives you all of your industry specific FICO scores for $1 on a 14-day trial. Make sure to comment scores and I'll send it right over to you. And depending on which plan you choose, it is actually significantly cheaper than my FICO, so it's up to you which ones you want to use, but I just want to give you as much information so you can understand where to find your real FICO scores that matter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered another huge one on where to find your real FICO scores and throw Credit Karma in the trash because it's basura. Now make sure to watch this next video if you have any collections or charge-offs that need to be deleted from your credit reports using AI. And if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.